Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. Now, during the festive period, I was just a smidge obsessed with Gordon Ramsay. I don't know what it was about his videos, but I was just obsessed. So I went on his page and I checked what his two most popular recipes are, and they are a pork belly and a beef Wellington. So I wanted to see, are Gordon Ramsay's recipes as easy as he makes them look? Because he's literally like, bish bash bosh, let's make this, and it's delicious. So I wanted to give it a go. And that's exactly what I've done. So up first we made the beef Wellington, so I'm going to pass over to Grace in the past for the beef Wellington. The first thing we do is we take our humble little beef. I bought Tesco Finest because I'm not here to play around. I want this to be the best meal that my family have ever had in their whole entire flipping life. This is going to be the most enjoyable thing that they have ever consumed. I have to cut off all the sinew. So that's what I'm doing now. I really don't like the word sinew. I don't trust the word sinew, but you have to cut it off. So that's what I'm doing here. We need to add salt and pepper. Okay, our meat has been resting. Oh, that's the wrong hob. I'm already off to a bad start. We add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to a pan to sear the meat. I would never normally measure out the oil because who can be faffed to do that? But I want this to be perfect. I want it to be exactly as Mr. Gordon tells us to do it. Let's get our tongs. I think tongs are actually such an important piece of kitchen gear. I just feel like they don't really get spoken about. Like, everyone gives praise to knives and wooden spoons and spatulas. What about the humble tong, hey? We're gonna go in. You want it to be as quick as you can. Yeah, we're playing with fire, baby. And then, just like that, we leave it to rest. So now, whilst that's resting, we can do the next element, which I have no idea how to pronounce, and I do not want to butcher the pronunciation. Now what I have to do is we are going to make I have no idea how to pronounce it, the chestnut and mushroom outer layer, basically. Look, I don't think I've ever had a chestnut before, but it said a handful of chestnuts. Problem is I don't have a proper food processor, so we're just gonna have to go ahead with our little NutriBullet. Chuck it says a handful, which, I mean, to be fair, I probably have the same size hands as Gordon Ramsay. I have massive hands. What do they taste like? No, I have had a chestnut. That's those things with all the spikes on it. So I'm just gonna have to do this in sections in the NutriBullet because it won't fit. 750 grams of mushrooms coming out. I'm not gonna lie, stand here and say that this smells nice, because it smells like not nice. It doesn't. Although actually, on that second whiff, the first whiff I had was not pleasant at all. But that kind of smelled a bit like truffles, which would make sense because it's mushrooms, isn't it? But we're nearly there. Would not recommend doing that in a NutriBullet. Took a lot of strength and determination. I think potentially I might have over blitzed it, but it's fine because we're driving off the moisture now. We put it into a dry pan with the thyme leaves and we basically just dry it out. Because otherwise, what you'll get then is you'll get soggy pastry, and we do not want soggy pastry. So this step also means that it intensifies the flavour, which I get because when you cook mushrooms they get really nice and like juicy and flavoursome when you cook them. It looks revolting. It's really changed texture. I think we're getting there. It's really dried out so much since the start, but I'm really fearful of soggy pastry. I think Bake Off has instilled that in me ever since Mary used to be like, you don't want a soggy bottom. So now I'm like always trying to stop myself from having a soggy bottom. The worst has happened. I've laid the table, don't know if you can see, down there. Yep, there you go. There's no napkins. How am I supposed to throw a dinner party with no napkins? But also, updates. She is getting nice and dry. I don't know to what point is dry enough. I might refer back to the video. It kind of looks a bit like refried beans, a little bit. Just watched the video back and his looks a lot more chunky than mine. Mine is like a proper puree. But I think we're just gonna roll with it. We then have to cool it down. So we cool it down by placing it on a tray and spreading it out. I'm also wondering if that might dry out a little bit more, which would be good. I actually should have done this earlier, but what we have to do is we have to brush English mustard onto the beef all over to create like a little mustardy coating. Okay, now what we need to do is get some cling film. I actually really struggle with cling film. I feel like this is not big enough. Is it? But when I was reading the instructions from what everyone else said, they all said to leave a lot of overhang because that makes it easier to roll. I think I'm gonna have to like double it over. Why has Gordon got better cling film than me? That's what I wanna know. So we have our Parma ham and we're gonna layer 8 slices. You've got to always test your produce, haven't you? So I need to just delightful. You'll go in there, sweetheart. Peel it off. How much overlap though? I wish he was a bit more specific. He says make sure that they overlap so that the beef juices, it like seals the beef juices in. Oh no, we've got a bit of a tear. That one can just go in my mouth. This was kind of boring because I basically was just finishing off layering all the Parma ham until it was all neat. Okay, now we take our cooled down chestnut mixture, chestnut and mushroom, and we place it onto the Parma ham that we've just spread out. Now we take our mustard beef and we place that in the center. And this is, I actually think I'm gonna have to do it that way, but this is where everyone said it's the hardest bit. You just gotta do it with confidence. Come on, Grace. I've never believed in you more, my girl. Keep going. Okay, so I want that to fall on there. Yes, this is it. I'm doing it. Okay, and then over again. Of course, the washing is now done in case anyone was concerned. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Oh no. The washing machine distracted me. Yes. It wraps it like a really tight little circular log. What's this weird like turny thing? I don't know if that's right or not. And there is our beef Wellington inside, and we put that in the fridge, and he said you can leave it for a few hours or 15 minutes or whatever, but as long as it is firmed up. But I'm really happy because I love recipes like this where you can prepare everything and then when everyone comes you just need to do the last minute. So far this has been quite easy, but hopefully it will stay easy. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Okay, so it's much later now and my beef has all been chilling and everything, and now I'm about to wrap it in the puff pastry. This is when we get to be decorative and fun and we get to experiment with their design. So I literally think you just wrap it up in pastry. I mean, I say it simply, but I don't think it is going to be a simple procedure. Also, I've gotten all my veg ready. I've got some honey roast parsnips, and then in here I've got some, I've done like a little parcel of green veg with herb butter to go alongside. Okay, the recipe says 190, so I've been preheating the oven, but my oven runs hot, so I'm gonna do 180. Risky. You just don't know what's gonna be going on in the beef, so it's hard to know how this beef is gonna turn out. But so far, it's actually been so much easier than I thought. Honestly, a lot easier. I feel like this is gonna be my dinner party staple. This is gonna be the thing that I cook for everyone. If it turns out okay. That's the main concern. All right, she is going into the oven for 35 minutes. Now you know what that sound means. It means that it's done, supposedly. I'm following Gordon to a T, so I'm gonna trust him. Okay, I was a bit cautious and I checked the thermometer temperature of it, and it's nowhere near done, so I'm very glad that I checked. So it's gonna probably go in for a bit longer. Okay, I've taken her out, I've put some foil and a tea towel to keep her warm, and she rests for 15 minutes. I'm literally finding it so hard to wait for it to rest. I just want to eat it. How does anyone wait? I just want to gobble it right up. Just let me gobble it up. It's time to face the music. Finally, we can cut into my work of art, my creation. I'm quite happy with her. She's big. She's a beast. Oh yeah, baby. Wow. Ow. Okay. Oh, she's still quite rare. Still quite rare. I feel like my family won't like it that rare. So the outer pieces were a lot more done. And then this one is Dad's. How are you feeling?
Can't wait.
Yeah. Same
old.
On the house. So as you can see, the beef Wellington was a triumph. It truly was as easy as he said. And it was, I mean, I personally didn't love the like mushroom chestnut mixture that was on the outside of the beef Wellington, but it was still really good. Now up next we are making the pork belly, which I've made once in my life before and it was quite a success, so I wanted to see if I could execute it with the same finesse as last time. Now the first thing that I did was I scored the pork belly, which was a bit of a struggle because we all know my knives suck. This is the year that I am going to get new knives, alright? I'm claiming it. I'm gonna buy some new knives this year. I just need to know good ones that are actually gonna be good. So I scored the pork belly and then it says generously season it with salt and pepper, rubbing it into the skin, and that was exactly what I did. The next bit was a bit tricky because I didn't have a roasting tray, so I just used a normal tray and I did it all in the normal tray, which I don't think it really affected the recipe that much. It was still delicious and worked very well. I used a normal tray and I popped the fennel. Never dealt with the fennel before. So I've tried to watch a tutorial on how to cut it. So I'm gonna give this a go and see if it works. Fennel is such a weird ingredient. See, my mum and dad don't like fennel, so you know, if your parents don't like a food, you're not gonna eat it. You like dice it like an onion, is the impression that I get. So you want to dice it up a little bit, but not too much. The bay leaves, the garlic, the cardamom, the star anise, and half of the fennel seeds into the tray with a little bit of oil, and it began to smell so good. It smelled a little bit like licorice. I think that's because of the fennel seeds, but it was really, really good. And then you popped the pork in. Now I did have a bit of trouble with this bit because the pork did stick to the tray. I don't know if that was because I didn't use enough oil or what, but it was a bit of a tricky situation, and because obviously it's not a normal pan where you have a handle to like move it around, I just had to try and make it work, but it did work in the end. After 5 minutes I flipped the pork over, I seasoned again and popped on the remaining fennel seeds, and then I poured the wine in to deglaze the pan. You bring that to the boil and then you pour stock in over the top, and make sure that it doesn't cover the skin so that you get the nicest crackling ever. Honestly, this crackling was flipping amazing. I couldn't think of a word to describe other than amazing. Come on Grace, pull out your great adjectives. So simple. You pop it into the oven, leave it for 2.5 hours. That's literally all you have to do. Then when you take it out of the oven, you have this really fun moment where you leave the pork to rest because you want it to like do its thing. You're not supposed to have it when it's straight out of the oven. And what you do is you get a piece of bread and you soak up the oil on top so that you've got all the nice flavours underneath, so it's not too fatty. And Gordon in the video said that he likes to make his fried bread out of that, and I can just imagine that tasting absolutely glorious. But I thought that was such a great hack to get rid of all the fat. I don't know, I've never seen it done before. Anyway, then we made like the saucy gravy with all of the flavours from that, and then we tried it. I had no idea how to cut it and I really messed it up, so I had to enlist the help of my dad because the top bit was so crispy and crunchy, and the bottom bit is like so melt in the mouth and oh, so good. And let me tell you, it went down a storm. My family aren't big porky eaters. They don't love a pork moment, but they are happy to have this again and have actually requested that I make it again.
Very nice. Very sweet, very nice bit of crackling on top. And the meat was very succulent.
Out of 10.
Yeah, 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Really nice.
Thumbs up?
A big thumbs up from me.
Beef Wellington?
Lovely. I think I preferred. I think I preferred the pork.
Really?
To the beef Wellington.
And you don't normally like pork.
I know.
So honestly, Gordon Ramsay's recipes so far, doing bits. I'm thinking I might need to do a full day of Gordon Ramsay recipes because it was so much fun and the recipes were really easy. So shout out Gordon Ramsay, you are a legend. And now I have purchased his recipe book because I've been bowled over. Every recipe I've cooked of his, I mean the two, have been amazing. So shout out Gordon. Thanks so much for watching. Any videos that you want to see in the future, let me know down below. Bye!